Hello friends, I'm Major Gaurav Arya and you're watching the Chanakya Dialogues English. And what happens when you want somebody else to do the work? You get people from outside, and this is true of Gulf states even today. So where do you get people from? At that time India was a poor country. I'm talking about the 70s, I'm talking about the 80s, and early 90s. But somebody from outside has injected a virus into Kerala, God's own country. Such beautiful people, fantastic people, but somebody has done something wrong. And hello friends, I'm Major Gaurav Arya and you're watching the Chanakya Dialogues English. Please like this video, subscribe to our channel and don't forget to press the bell icon. Friends, my sincere apologies, I could not record yesterday. I was down with a very severe case of food poisoning, had to be taken to the hospital. I'm much better now, though slightly weak. So you're going to miss the energy that I usually try and put in my videos. There is this big controversy taking place. In fact, the Prime Minister of India also mentioned it, Modi ji, about this movie called The Kerala Story. And the Kerala Story, a disclaimer first, I have not seen the movie and I did not want to see the movie before I recorded this video. I will certainly see the movie, but maybe after 2-3 days. Friends, you know, there is this thing about, in this movie, about 30 or 30 to 35,000 girls in Kerala who have been, that is what the movie says, that have been, converted into Islam, essentially Hindu and Christian girls who've been converted to Islam and sent abroad as fighters or to be, women slaves or whatever. So that is the premise, that is this thing on which the story of the movie flows. Now, is this story true? Is it false? Now, first coming to this figure of 35,000 girls that this movie talks about, the truth is that I don't know. I don't know whether this is true, whether there are 3,500, 35,000, 350,000, I don't know. I don't know the truth. I don't know the correct figures. But I know what is happening. And what is happening is very uncomfortable. First of all, I've been to Kerala many times. I've been to, I've shot in Kerala extensively. I have been to the Naval Academy, Ezimala, but I've also been to a lot of civilian areas. I've been to Wayanad. And I think Wayanad is a very beautiful place. I've been to backwaters, amazing people, amazing hospitality. Everything. But somebody from outside has injected a virus into Kerala, God's own country. Such beautiful people, fantastic people, but somebody has done something wrong. And before I come to this Kerala story, let me tell you a brief background. I've done some research into it and I will tell you where this virus came from. It starts off, actually the Kerala story starts off when in the deserts of Arabia, the Gulf countries, you start discovering oil. And the Arabs had no idea that they had oil because they were essentially people who were, they were Bedouins going from one place to the other, and they had sheep and goats and they had camels, and they would go from one oasis to the other. And what, you would call people who were nomads. Of course, there were settled towns and cities. Nobody is denying that. There were towns, there were cities, people used to trade. But in the interiors, a large part of the population was, going from one place to the other and doing stuff like that. Now, suddenly, one day, the white man discovers oil in Arabia. And I'm not using the word Saudi Arabia. I'm using the word Arabia here in a larger context of, the desert states. Now, those states were extremely poor. They didn't have the kind of money, the kind of funds that were needed to run a country. But suddenly, one fine morning, you can say in the snap of the fingers, they became billionaires and trillionaires because the ground started spouting oil. And it was the white man who said that, this is the way you extract oil, this is the way you refine oil, this is the way you sell it to the world because the world can't move without oil. Oil is the new gold. The Arabs became rich overnight. And many things happened. The standard of the people, the living standard went up significantly. And, you must have heard that on the internet, many a time that tough times create tough men create easy times, and easy time creates soft men. So what happened in the Arab states was that, good times created soft men. In the sense that education became free. There was a time initially when for some time oil was given at very, very subsidized rates. They used to say that it's cheaper to get water, or it's cheaper to get oil, I beg your pardon. Oil is cheaper than water and stuff like that. We've heard all those stories. And a lot of spending, and people were generally happy. The Arabs were happy because obviously the sheikhs were spending a lot of money and people also. And they suddenly overnight, from a very, very poor country, or very poor countries in the collective sense, became rich overnight because of oil revenues. Even today, apart from Dubai, many of these Arab countries don't have any alternate source of income, right? It's 90% oil. I mean, Saudi Arabia does have the Makkah and Medina, so a lot of tourism happening because all the Muslims will go there, but apart from that, nothing very much. Nothing very much. It's mostly oil, oil and more oil. Now, what happened with the oil was new masjids, new mosques started coming up, and they started coming up all over. And not satisfied with mosques only there, two things happened. Mosques started coming up in India, funded by Saudi money, funded by Gulf money, oil money. These so-called oil mosques came up all over India. They also came up in Kerala, they came up in Uttar Pradesh, they came up all over Pakistan. And this was how the oil states started spreading their influence into these countries. And it's not just India and Pakistan, they came up all over the world for that matter. Now, what happened was, this is the first thing. Second thing that happened was that because the society created soft people, in the sense that after some time people got used to a luxurious style of living. No, you want a driver. You want a driver. You want somebody to look after your business. You want somebody to do the accounts. You want waiters. You want construction workers, because massive amounts of construction is happening. In fact, just to tell you, Osama bin Laden belongs to one of the biggest construction companies. At one time, that Bin Laden Constructions was among the biggest construction companies in the world. Amongst the biggest, right? And certainly the top in Saudi Arabia. In fact, they built, people say, I don't know whether it's true or not, but they say that they built most of Saudi Arabia, Bin Laden Constructions. And Osama bin Laden is one of the sons of the owner of Bin Laden Constructions. So, what happened was that people saw a lot of prosperity and they wanted somebody else to do their work. And what happens when you want somebody else to do the work? You get people from outside. And this is true of Gulf states even today. So where do you get people from? At that time, India was a poor country. I'm talking about the 70s, I'm talking about the 80s and early 90s. India was a poor country. And one way to get rich, even if you didn't have amazing qualifications, but you were willing to work hard, one way to get rich was to go to Saudi, was to go to the Gulf. And they went there, they made a lot of money. A lot of Muslims from Kerala also went, from all over actually. Why just Muslims from Kerala? Muslims from all over went, Hindus from all over went, India, Christians from all over India went, not just Muslims. But the Muslims went to the mosques. Indian Muslims, Kerala Muslims went to the mosques in Saudi Arabia, and those were Wahhabi mosques. So again, there were two ideologies that were propagated indirectly. Now, Islam has no concept of Wahhabi or Deobandi or Barelvi or Shia or Sunni. These are not Quranic concepts. These are man-made concepts, right? These are concepts. In fact, in Pakistan and in the subcontinent rather, there are more than 72 types of Muslims. I was talking to a friend of mine and I said I used to go to Rampur. Rampur, it's 4.5 hours away from Noida, where I live. And Rampur is a place which has a lot of Muslims. And in a small village in Rampur, whose name I will not take. And very nice people, good people. And largely Muslim village. Except for one or two Hindu houses, largely Muslim village. I was surprised to see 2 mosques. And I asked them, you have 2 mosques, that is great, God-fearing people. He said, no, it's not about being God-fearing or not. One is for the people who identify themselves as Turks, Muslim Turks. And the other mosque is for Pathans, Muslim Pathans. But I said, what is the difference? I mean, both of you are Muslims, why can't you go to a common mosque? And they said, no, that's not the way it is. And he said, I don't know what the truth is, because I'm not aware, because I just went to that one village. But they said that in most of the villages it's like that. You have different mosques for different communities, right? People who claim Turkish descent will go to a certain mosque. people who claim Pathan or Pashtun descent will go to a certain mosque. That is what I saw in that village. And this is a village bang outside Rampur. I used to be working for a company once upon a time which had land in Rampur, and we were required to go there once every 10-15 days. And we went there for various business activities and all that. So this is what happened there. Now, what happened in that context, my friends, is this, that, when they went inside these mosques, which were, Wahhabi in ideology, they learnt about jihad, because that is not how a Keralite Muslim was initially, right? It wasn't like that in Kerala always. It wasn't like that anywhere in India. This entire concept was imported from the Gulf states. And this is exactly what Prince Mohammed bin Salman is fighting against. And that is why I salute Mohammed bin Salman. He's a visionary. He knows where this tamasha comes from, where this nonsense comes from, and he's trying to nip it in the bud. And he's doing it fantastically well. So, he's doing a great job. Now, coming back to the story, they learned two things from these Wahhabi mosques, that Wahhabism, or this interpretation of Islam, which is very radical, I will not say traditionalist, very fundamentalist in nature, right, is the true Islam and the rest are false. And number two, if you follow this Islam, this kind of Islam, which was taught in the Gulf states at that time, which was almost the state religion, if I may say so. Of course, the state religion was Islam, but this stream of Islam, if you follow it, material wealth follows. And Allah blesses you with material wealth. So this is something that they learned. Now, what was that material wealth? For a person, poor person in India, at that time India was a poor country, for that matter, a poor person in Pakistan or Bangladesh, or for that matter, any other country, what was material wealth? A color TV. That was material wealth. A washing machine. Nobody had seen a washing machine, right? In my own house, I had a black and white television, which had a door in front, and that door was like a shutter door which would shut down and open. And it had a knob for 5 channels, but there was only 1 channel, and there weren't any 5 channels, and that was pretty much it. Because India was a socialist economy at one point in time, and that is how it was. And we were happy that way. But people from abroad came, and they came in these flights carrying these huge amounts of gold from outside and money from outside. When I say outside, I mean the Gulf states, and from Saudi, and getting all these fancy gadgets which we hadn't seen in India. And suddenly the word spread in villages, towns and cities of Kerala. I'm saying Kerala, it spread everywhere in India, but I'm saying Kerala because we're talking about the Kerala story, that movie, The Kerala Story. So it spread everywhere, and then people started to think that, okay, this is the right thing to do, because it gives you comfort, it gives you respectability. People who were living in mud houses suddenly started building mansions. Today you go in Kerala, out of nowhere you'll see a mansion. Out of nowhere. It's just there in the middle, isolated. There's a mansion. A beautiful house. Fantastic house. Most of it, I'm not saying all of it, but most of it was created with petrodollars. The petrol money, called petrodollars, Gulf money. It was created by Gulf money. And that started that kind of radicalization, that kind of Wahhabism into the soul of Kerala. Now, I'm going to quote a few articles to sort of strengthen my point. And I'm not going to just say arbitrarily that these many girls have been abducted, etc., but I'm going to quote articles which will tell you what I mean, right? So the first one is an article by India Today, and this article is dated 27th of January 2020, in which this says, Rekha Sharma, National Commission for Women, the chairperson of the National Commission for Women, says that urging the Kerala government to take action against love jihad, National Commission for Women chairperson Rekha Sharma on Monday alleged that women are being forcibly converted and taken to different countries. Quote, I conducted a detailed inquiry into the forceful conversion and love jihad and women leaving the country. Marrying a person from a different religion is not a problem, but forcefully converting them is a problem. It is happening in Kerala. So this is Rekha Sharma, and Rekha Sharma at that point in time, I don't know about today, but at that point in time, chairperson of the National Commission of Women. Now, she says that converting from one religion to the other, is not a problem. I agree if somebody wants to convert from one religion to the other. Let's say a Hindu girl wants to become a Muslim, right? Or a Hindu boy wants to become a Muslim. That's absolutely okay with me per se. But is the opposite also true? Does Islam allow Muslims to convert into any other religion? Because then the sentence is death. And I'm not being communal here. I'm not trying to justify anything. I'm just telling you the truth. And if anybody can educate me, anybody can guide me and say that you're wrong, and actually this is the truth, I'll be happy to learn and I'll be happy to correct myself. But as far as I know, it is not permitted for a Muslim to either leave the faith, become an atheist, or become a Hindu, Christian, Sikh, or whatever you want to become. It's not allowed. This is a one-way street. You can only go in, you can't come out. That's what my understanding is. So Rekha Sharma ji, Chairperson, National Commission of Women of India, this article. The second article that I'd like to quote here is, this is by Joseph Kalarangat, Bishop of Palai. Now, Bishop of Palai, this gentleman called Joseph Kalarangat, he says, young Christians being targeted through love and narcotics jihad. This is what the Christian leader or the leader of the Christians there in that area of Kerala say, and he says that the Bishop of Palai Diocese of the Syro Malabar Church, I hope I am pronouncing this correctly, Syro Malabar Church, alleged that those who claim that love jihad doesn't exist in Kerala are blind to reality. Such people, be they politicians or those from social and cultural spaces, media may have their own vested interests, but one thing is clear, we are losing our women. It is not just love marriages, it is a war strategy to destroy their lives. This is what this Christian leader says. The third article that I'm quoting is from Deccan Herald. This Deccan Herald article is dated April 21, 2022. So 21st of April 2022. And this article says Kerala is witnessing increasing instances of a section of the Christian community, including bishops, unleashing the Love Jihad campaign, not just over instances of interfaith marriages by women in the community, but even over women missing. So clearly there are women who are missing, who have been unaccounted for. And many other things. I'll also come to another article written by, Colonel Denny. Colonel Denny used to be our colleague in Chanakya Forum. Now he's pursuing other activities and in Kerala. He's a Keralite. Colonel Denny is a Keralite, and I'll quote his article a little later. But have you seen a certain trend? Have you seen a certain trend? All these articles, whether it's Hindus, whether it's a secular body like the National Commission of Women, Rekha Sharma ji I quoted, or it is the Christians, everybody is only talking about women. So apparently all these articles, 3-4 that I quoted right now, are not talking about men being converted. Young men, old women. Every single article is talking about young women being converted, right? And this is the same trend that you see in Pakistan. Same trend that you see in Pakistan. And I would like to quote here this report by the United Nations Human Rights. And this is dated 16 January 2023, in which they say that UN experts today expressed alarm at the reports rise in abductions, forced marriages and conversions of underage girls and young women from religious minorities in Pakistan. So this, and I would request the editor to put up this also. Now, this is happening in case of, that is at least what the UN report says. I'm not saying this, the United Nations report says. I'll ask the editor to put it up there so that you can see this report. So it specifically mentions girls, specifically underage girls. And this is what that bishop or the archbishop of, the Christian gentleman in Kerala, he's saying, this is what the National Commission of Women are saying. And there are hundreds of such articles because we don't have time, we have limited time show. So I mentioned only 3, 4, 5 articles. Now this is happening. It's happening in Pakistan, it's happening in India, it's specifically happening in Kerala. Again, I say, I don't know, 35,000 women have been, they have been sort of abducted. I don't know the number. It could be 35, it could be 350, it could be 3,500 or 35,000. I'm not aware. I'm not aware of the figure. But the problem is that maximum, more than 90% of the conversions that are happening are of young women as per these articles. Now, I'll come to what Colonel Dinny said. All right, and it's important to understand what Colonel Dinny is a Malayali, he's a proud Malayali, and I know him personally, which is why I'm quoting this article. Colonel Dinny has, and I would request the editor put this article in the link, and he says about how, you can read this because it's a really a long article, and it's a very detailed article that he said that we are nowhere near, in Kerala, he's talking about Kerala, he's saying we're nowhere near Jammu and Kashmir, that level of violence which was there in 1989. No, we are not there. But if you see the signs, you'll see that we are getting there. And then he quotes data. He says more than, and this article is more than 2 years old. Colonel Dinny says that the state has reported close to 100 cases of terrorism till date. All right? And more than 142 arrests, use of improvised explosive devices. In 2007, there was training for sharpshooting, making of petrol bombs. And this involved 18 members of the band's semi-outfit. Very interestingly, in 2008, Altaf Ahmed, Hizbul Mujahideen terrorist from Kashmir, was arrested in Kumuli, Idukki in Kerala. He had also applied for a passport in Kerala. So this guy from Kashmir, from the north of India, goes to the extreme south of India. He applies for a passport there. Another suspected terrorist was arrested for recruitment of Kerala youths into Jammu and Kashmir. And 2 religiously converted youths who are not Muslims, but they could be Christians, they could be Hindus, I don't know. But 2 religiously converted youth from the state were killed in the line of control while carrying out infiltration. So these youth apparently went to Pakistan from Kerala. Can you imagine? They went to Kerala, they went to Pakistan from Kerala and tried to infiltrate into India to try to do terrorism in Jammu and Kashmir. So this is the level of systematic radicalization that is taking place in Kerala, right? Without going into many other details, because I've given you all the links and you have the articles there, you can read for yourself. But ladies and gentlemen, I'll just tell you, I've said this before, I'll say this again once more, and I believe in this, that the next surprise will not come from Kashmir, it will come from Kerala. I think it's time that we did something in Kerala in terms of talking to the population, starting de-radicalization steps, or whatever the government thinks is the right thing to do. And I've deliberately quoted articles here from relevant sources. I have not given you my view at all. Even that incident of the Gulf states and money coming in, that is quoted from Mr. M.J. Akbar's book, The Shade of Swords. So I'm talking about authoritative sources everywhere, because the problem is I also have a view in this, and I have a very strong view in this. But the problem is, as soon as I say something, people will say, no, you are ideologically inclined this way or inclined that way, and this is what you want to say. So no, I'm not saying anything. These are the articles which you must read and educate yourself. I hope something good happens in Kerala, because across religious lines, I have Keralite friends who are Muslims, who are Christians. I've been to their homes, I've experienced their hospitality, fantastic people. But there is something wrong in Kerala, and I think the elders, the village elders, the family elders, I think they need to step in, and the religious leaders need to step in to, make sure that Kerala, which is a fantastic, beautiful place full of beautiful people, remains beautiful and does not get infected by a foreign ideology which has no place in India. Thank you very much for watching this video, ladies and gentlemen. If you like this video, do press the bell icon and subscribe to our channel. Jai Hind, Vande Mataram, Bharat Mata Ki Jai.